And you've just heard Sparkling by Rusina, and I'm delighted to be joined by Rusina now. Hello.
Hello, Alistair.
So, first off, what can you tell us about the single Sparkling?
Well, the first thing is it's my first Scottish single. I arrived to Scotland 3 months ago. It was February, 4 months ago right now. So it's the first song written and recorded here. And well, probably it has two layers. It is a puzzle of my first Scottish impressions. And it is like a monologue about me feeling something very painful inside myself and speaking from it. So yeah, it was recorded and it was created in the frame of my university course, because I'm attending University of the West of Scotland, and we had a songwriting course. So the reason why I written and produced something so quickly is that I had this course and we had an opportunity to record in the UWS and to work with a producer inside UWS. So yeah, that's probably it.
So there was kind of deadlines involved because it's part of a kind of academic process, not as much as an artistic process, but equally they both kind of work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I feel like for a creative person, it's very necessary to have a deadline, because like when you don't have deadline and you have like plenty of time, even if you have plenty of time to do something, you just tend to like overthink, or I don't know, just write something but not releasing it. And when you have a deadline, you don't have such an opportunity. So yeah, it's essential.
So being part of that course at the University of West of Scotland, does that mean you're also collaborating with other people that are on the course? Yeah.
Yeah. And for this particular song, for Sparkling, I was collaborating with my course mate and my friend now, Sam from May Radio Orchestra. I know that she was your guest as well.
Yeah.
So all the strings is made by her, and this collaboration, I would name it as collaboration because like we worked in a very open frame. I just came to Sam and showed her my song and tell her like, I don't really know how to work with strings and I don't have anything written for you. So you could just do whatever you feel like you need to, and I will maybe edit it on some level or just frame it on some level. So yeah, it was a pure collaboration, and I'm very happy that I had Sam for that.
And it's an absolutely beautiful song. I was listening to it again just before we started talking. And it made me think, because you also say it's very personal to you, you can hear that in the lyrics. What's it like to write such a song? Because most people don't. You know, most people might have thoughts and things, but to get it down on page, whether it's a song, I guess, or a poet does the same, or even in a writer or an artist, what is that like? Is it difficult? Is it cathartic?
I would say it is cathartic, and it's a very interesting question because like I always write that way. I like, even if I write about something very light and like happy, it's always coming through me like from very deep like places in me. Um, and I just don't know any other way to write something. It's like part of my method, just sitting and asking myself like, what do I have to say right now? And sometimes these things which I have to say, they're not very pleasant, or I don't like them myself, but it's just things which are coming out. What is interesting is how do you speak about these things with collaborators? Because like in the UK, I feel like in Russia, let's say, we are very common with very deep conversations, and it doesn't matter how well do we know each other. It's just our thing. And here in the UK, it was very funny because like when I spoke about the song and I was asked this question by my collaborators, which were Sam and Andrew, who play bass, and Andrew asked me like, what is the song about? I'm like, oh, look, it's about my father's trauma. And I'm like feeling myself like sitting in the kitchen and talking about these things. And guys are like, yeah, so what do we have to do with that? So it's like, yeah, I think like writing about that is sometimes even easier than to speak about it, because like you're not speaking very straight about what you're feeling. You're just like finding some images, some metaphor. But then when the moment comes when someone asks you what it is about, and you have to be honest with it, it's sometimes awkward, funny, but I love it because like it builds connection between you and collaborators just in a marvelous way. So yeah.
It's so interesting. First of all, I can understand, I'm a big fan of Russian literature, so I kind of understand what you mean about deep and long and serious conversations, because it's nearly in every book that I've ever read. But also then you've got this cultural change, and you're maybe starting to see this. But in Scotland, we often treat the serious, certainly in the west of Scotland, but I think all of Scotland, with a joke or an undercutting, or it's uncomfortable perhaps to talk about it. So you're seeing that. And also people, certainly with music, you can kind of read or take out of it what you put in. You've got this beautiful music, as you say, there's some strings and all of that. And maybe on first listening, people won't listen to a lyric as deeply as, perhaps they will otherwise. And then you start to say, well, there's something deeper going on here. Is that the kind of layers you're talking about?
Yeah. And as a listener, I always read lyrics. Like, there are a lot of music, of course, which I just listen on Spotify and, just listen to it, and that's it. But if I want to go deeper into the music, I will definitely read the lyrics, and it's just like another layer of perception of the song. And I feel like as an artist, I have to be able to speak about the lyrics, especially if these lyrics are so, so deep for me, so meaningful for me as well. Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit, and take as long as you like, because it sounds like some journey, and really a journey, how you came to be making and releasing music in Scotland today?
So I was living in Russia. Let's start from that. And I was making music there. And I was a marketing specialist in education for the last 7 years. So it was like my full occupation, my main job. And I was doing music like a side project, but it was never enough for me. So I was thinking for a long time that I need to have like a proper master's degree in music. I had like musical college before, music school before, but I felt like I need to have a community, and I have to have like deadlines, frames, teachers for my work to be more focused, because like I'm 31 years old, it's not 20 anymore. And I feel like my brain can do like not so many creative tasks right now. So if I want to do something really great, I need to focus on that. So I was thinking about masters for quite a long time, and this year I just did it. I picked Scotland. Well, it was surprising because like what I did, like I listed every songwriting masters you have here in the UK, and I had like a list, and then I tried to enter to one of London universities. It was Goldsmiths, and to University of the West of Scotland. I got offers from 2 of these universities, but then I just picked UWS because it just felt right. It felt like people there are really caring, and they have like songwriting masters. It's not like popular music or performance masters. And I really wanted to be in this field of like other composers, song composers, because it's a very specific type of work. It's not like creative writing, but it's not performance as well. So yeah, this is how I like in Scotland, which I like. I feel very, very lucky to pick this place because I've never been to Scotland before. It's my first time. I've never been to UK before, but like Scotland was one of those destinations, about what you think like, that will be really nice to like live there for some time, but like what possibly could make me live there? It's like Iceland or Norway, or like the countries you're dreaming about. So yeah, I'm just really glad that I picked Scotland. And so yeah, I arrived in February, and in February this course, professional music release, immediately started in the uni. So that's how probably this is my story.
And this is this a kind of a course that goes over many years? Is it only a couple of terms? What's it like?
It's like a master's degree. It goes like in my case, because I started in January and there was this possibility to start in January and to make it's like 3 trimesters. So
Yeah.
I finished one and there are 2 ahead, starting from the autumn. So I'll finish next May. Yeah, and I'll be master in music, which I really like how it sounds. So yeah.
And when you were in Moscow, were you in Moscow? Is that where you lived? Yeah, in Russia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was born.
Was there a music scene that you were involved in? I guess there was.
Yeah. Yeah. I was mostly involved in jazz scene because I was studying at jazz musical college. But I was not really interested in jazz. Like I love listening to it, but I want to do a bit different type of music. So I was like, I would say that at the moment when I left Russia, I was like an emerging artist as well. Like I released an album and 2 EPs, but like, yeah, I felt myself like in the start of my music career. And in Moscow, it's very interesting because like I mentioned that here in Scotland, you have like, for example, what you do, like it's such marvelous work. You just support artists who emerge and who want to share this music. But like in Moscow, we don't really have these opportunities for like emerging artists, the artists who just start. And it's very hard to build your way to like the music scene. You can do that, but you don't really have a community. You don't have like master programs in songwriting, and you don't have like people who will support you. So it's hard. So I was probably on this page of my life when I was thinking what to do next. I tried this, I tried that. I had like my first band was like about like modern romances, a bit jazzy, but a bit pop as well. And the next project I did, it was more like electronic one. So I was like not sure what to do next. That was the point when I left.
And is that perhaps in part because Moscow is such a big city? I'm taking it is a huge city, yeah.
Absolutely.
And what you're
Absolutely.
probably beginning to find already is that the Scottish music scene is smaller, definitely smaller, and you can make these connections and collaboratings, and often across genres as well. As you know, you can say, well, I used to do jazz, but no one's going to pigeonhole you and say, right, that's what you do, you are jazz. They're more likely to say, oh, have you ever thought about you're doing this? And it sounds like your course is a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And like as a person, I love more smaller things, smaller stages, smaller communities, because especially in our age where like when we musicians, when we release online and like we have relationships with our fans online. It's so good to be in environment where you can make real connections with people, because like the environment you live in is not huge, like killing with its size. So yeah, I feel like it's more calm and happy as a process to do music in a place like Glasgow, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think it always stuns me how much new music is getting made and released in Scotland all over. And then you find that people like yourself are already working with other people who, you know, are releasing music or are doing other things, or, you know, are putting on events or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Have you done any live gigs here yet?
Not yet, but I'm working on that. I'll probably start doing live since autumn. I'm rehearsing.
And so you've no idea what that will, you know, if that will be just yourself or will it be with others?
Like, I'm preparing myself to be by myself, which will be very new to me because I was always performing with a band. And I wasn't like, for example, I play piano, but I never played a piano by myself, being like one solo singer-songwriter on stage. And I feel like I want to have the skill, so I'm preparing to be by myself. But some of my songs just sounds better with other people. So yeah, I will definitely seek for collaborations on stage as well.
Well, when you have those plans defined, let us know and we'll kind of let everyone else know about it.
Absolutely.
And I'm interested, you're saying this is your first time in Scotland or in Britain. Does that make you view, did you say 3 months you've been here? Is that right?
Yeah, 4 now.
4 now. So does that make you view Russia in a different way, your homeland?
Yes, absolutely. But I feel like an honest answer to your question will be connected with the war, Russia against Ukraine, because like this war completely changed my life and the life of my dearest ones. So probably the main reflection I'm going through right now is like my very controversial feelings towards my homeland, because I love it and I was formed in it. I love Russian music. I was raised by Russian literature. My parents are there. So there are lots of different things which I love and feel connected to, but as well, like Russia is a terrorist state right now. So it's like the period of my life when I try to, differ these things, like feel them at the same time, like this is a shame and this is the things I love and this is the things which I want to feel connected to in the years to come. So yeah, absolutely, I'm going through this right now. It's not an easy period and it takes a lot of reflection. I'll probably write something about it, but for now I just feel like I'm too close to these feelings. I don't even feel the urge to write about it, because like it's happening for now. I don't have a distance towards like these feelings. But yeah, absolutely, like it's in terms of immigration and like getting used to things in Scotland is I must say it, Scotland is a very nice country to do immigration to, because it's very friendly, it's so kind, it's so unjudging. I feel very happy to be here. But probably in this safe environment, some feelings are just like come through and say, hello, we're here. And there are a lot of like trauma and there are a lot of drama. So yeah, absolutely. The distance, like in Russian, we have this poet, Sergei Yesenin, and he wrote a line, большое видится на расстоянии, which means like you can see the big things only on distance. So probably my connection with my homeland is one of those things.
Yeah, and in terms of big things, it's hard to think of anything bigger. Absolutely. So in terms of releasing music over here, do you know what's next for you? Do you have plans, or does it just kind of depend on the course, for instance?
Yeah, I would say I have a plan, and I formed it pretty much last week. So I have, yeah, because like I felt like, well, let's say my plan is emerging. It's not very concrete, but for now, at the moment, my plan sounds like I will release a couple of, like I have 3 different projects I'm working on right now, and all of them are actually very niche. So I need to think twice in terms of financing. One of them is about it will be an EP about Glasgow and my Glasgow experiences, because I feel like I want to write about it and I want to speak about it, and I developed some feelings toward this place already. It will be like 2 songs. I'm working on more conceptual song cycle, maybe album on unfinished poems by Emily Dickinson.
Wow.
I'm just very into Emily Dickinson right now, and I bought this book. Like I'm very much in poetry, and I bought her book of unfinished poems. It's called Envelope Poems. She wrote a lot on envelopes and different like pieces of paper. And I felt like it's such an inspiring idea to create something on something unfinished. And I feel it's like a song cycle. So I'm working on that right now. And there will be another EP of my Russian songs, Russian speaking, Russian language songs. 2 of them, they are already written, but I want to rearrange it and to think about a bit more. So this is at the moment my plans, but they could change.
Well, it sounds very exciting. I can't wait to hear all of that, I have to say. We're going to hear one of your older songs right now, but before we do, thank you so much, Rusina, for taking the time to chat to me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for your questions, and thank you very much for having me.
And this is Rusina, and from the album Exercise, it's called Romance.